And I think all of us understand that roads and bridges and highways are a fundamental part of our economy in Illinois. We're in the middle of the country. We're in the heart of the heartland. Right now we're at an airport that was an airport of the year in the past year, and we understand that transportation is vital to the Illinois economy, whether it be roads, whether it be railroads, whether it be airports, or whether it be barges that take our goods to market. So our state has really made a strong investment in transportation. Ever since I became governor about 4 years ago, we've tried to really invest especially in our roads and our bridges. We've been able to do over 7,000 miles of roads all across our state highways, not only repairing them, but building new roads where necessary. We also understand how important bridges are. And bridges in Illinois, we have a lot of them. We got to make sure that we invest in their maintenance and their upkeep. And so since I became governor, we've done 1,218 bridges across our state. And again, that's done by our State Department of Transportation. However, we also understand that there are local streets, streets that belong to the townships, to the counties, as well as the municipalities. These are not state highways. They're maintained by townships, municipalities, and counties. And when we passed the law 4.5 years ago, it's called Illinois Jobs Now. As governor, I insisted that we not only have money for our State Department of Transportation for its good work on state highways and bridges, but we also every year allocate at least $100 million per year from our state transportation funds to local governments for their local streets and roads and bridges. That began in 2010. We did it in 2011. We did it in 2012. This is our 4th year of doing it. We have 1 more year to go next year. Altogether, it's $100 million statewide to our counties, to our townships, and our municipalities to make sure that we invest in local streets and bridges. So whether we're in Peru right now, so the municipality of Peru can decide what it wants to do with this money that it gets from our state of Illinois. That's true whether you're in Morris or whether you're in Princeton, whether you're in DeKalb, you name it, Oswego. That's also true of the county government. There are county highways, and we want to make sure that we invest in the county highways and the township roads as well. So each and every one of those units of government, separate from what they get on our motor fuel, we have another allocation that comes from the state government. It's called the motor fuel allocation. This is separate and different, and it comes every year for the last now 4 years. And I want to personally thank Representative Frank Mautino, because he was in the legislature at the time, and in order to do this, we had to get the funding. And it's not so easy to get the funding. It's very easy to spend the money. Everybody wants to vote for that, spending the money for their district. But somebody had to have the courage to stand up and vote for the funding for this transportation bond issue. And Frank Mautino did that, and I'm very grateful to you, Frank, for standing up for investing in our transportation system. And we have to understand that we have to continue to do this. Next year is the last year of our investment under Illinois Jobs Now. And it was really the first time in 10 years that we had this kind of investment in transportation and other capital needs. When I became governor, there hadn't been a capital bill in 10 years. 10 years. And we did it in 10 weeks. And we did it well. And we did it where everybody in Illinois understood that investing in transportation is the best way to help us keep our jobs and grow our jobs. So it's quite important that we continue this in Illinois, and we'll be talking about that next year to the legislature. Again, you got to get the funding in order to spend important money that creates jobs. I see the laborers are here today. Men and women from organized labor who are in the trades are part of this mission of fixing our local streets, our state highways, highways, our bridges, all of those transportation networks that really are part of our economy. We have to understand in Illinois, we're the distribution capital of the whole United States. Not far from here is what's called the intermodal, right down I-80. And the intermodal is the largest inland port in the world. It's a port that isn't on a coast. It isn't on the ocean, it isn't on a lake or even a river. The inland port, not far from here on I-80, is the largest of its kind in the whole world. And it's keeping on growing. I was just with Home Depot last week. They built a 2 million square feet, 1,200,000 square foot facility that really is going to serve 320 Home Depots all across the Midwest. But of course, to do that, you have to have good roads. You have to have good transportation. And it's not only your state, where we have our state highways, and I want to thank our Department of Transportation for its commitment to getting the job done, but it's also making sure that we have, when you go to that local Home Depot, you have good local streets and bridges too. So that's really what it's all about. And what we've been doing across Illinois is getting together with our mayors and our county officials and our township officials to make sure that everybody who is getting one of these allocations from the state transportation fund, it's a special fund that gives out every year for 5 years money for local streets. It's the first time it's ever been done in the history of Illinois, and I think it's a good thing to do. We want to have a partnership with our mayors and our township supervisors and our county board officials. And I do want to thank Mayors Walt Marini from Spring Valley in Bureau County for being here, Patty Smith, Mayor of Marseilles, and we want to really thank the people in Marseilles, good and true, who took on that flood and really, I think, inspired all of us. Thank you, Mayor, and all the people in your town. Richard Alderson is the village president of South Wilmington. He's with us. And Teresa, I think it's Kearns, and that's from the mayor of the town of Diamond. Bob Davis, who's a commissioner as well in Marseilles, and Jimmy Langsford, the mayor of Streeter, is with us, and Rodney Perez, an alderman here in Peru, and also Gloria Orlandi, who is the mayor of Dolzo, Illinois as well. I now want to bring forward, I also want to thank Scott Harrell, the mayor of the city of Peru. Very important that we honor our hosts. It's very important, as you know, having good airports in Illinois. I was just reading about, we have one of the largest airports on planet Earth, again, in O'Hare Field. We also have many, many community airports, general aviation airports like this one that are important to our economy, and we made investments in them as well. And as I've said, in order to do these investments, you got to have someone who is in the legislature who votes to fund it. And I want to thank, again, the representative for this area for some time. That's Frank Mautino. Frank, why don't you come forward and say a few words?
Well, I didn't know exactly that I was going to be speaking today. It's always an honor. I was actually at my son's youth football game playing against Mendota. Some of the folks here are from Mendota. And I told him I've got to leave. I got to go to the airport to the governor. And my son James, who's 12, said, he heard about me too.
Here for the game.
He's here for the game. He wanted to know if I was bringing you back. First of all, we're delighted to have you here in the area. The capital program has brought a lot of work throughout the area, and putting a municipal and a township and a county portion in on top of the regular motor fuel tax in these times is a great asset to all the communities. Marseilles, for example, additional road dollars will help with some of the damage from the flood. We've had a lot of things in transportation in that area, but also locally, Governor, I wanted to thank you for the other pieces of that capital bill that a lot of us worked on. Gary Dahl, myself, we were very many members both sides of the aisle. We've seen from that the building of IVCC, which is $22 million of a $30 million project, and last week he released money for the technology inside there. And we received notification on the grant that Sue and I had worked with them on. So we see that. We see the Central School in Ottawa. We see many things for construction as well as maintenance that have come from that plan. So I look forward to working with the governor on the upcoming capital bill to keep jobs out there and to keep things going in this area. You've brought a lot of good things to the area, and we look forward to more in the years to come.
Well, Frank, thank you, Frank. My mother's going to be 96 this month, and I was with my mother a couple years ago on the 100th anniversary of Starved Rock. And she was not born yet, but she came along she was age 5, I think, or so, when Starved Rock was 5 years old. No, it was 5 years old when she was born. Anyhow, but Frank was very, very important in getting funding for our Department of Natural Resources and making sure we take good care of Starved Rock and all of our other parks in Illinois. We have work to do there. We know that. And I want to thank you publicly, Frank, for your leadership on that bill as well.
Nice.
What you said about IVCC, and I'm going to have Sue come forward in a minute here, it's very, very important we invest in our community colleges. I used to teach community college at night, and I was at Prairie State as well as Triton Community College. I was so impressed by the students who worked all day, went to school at night to improve their skills, all their abilities in order to get a good job and keep a job. So we really want to invest in IVCC. I'm really looking forward to the ribbon cutting. We were there at the groundbreaking. That's part of the bill we just talked about, the job recovery bill. That's created over 400,000 jobs in Illinois. Took someone with courage to get that funding. Thank you again, Frank. You can go back to the game if you want.
On November 1st is that groundbreaking. We're honored you're going to join us at 1 o'clock, and it's a great opportunity for people throughout our whole region.
All right,
Thank
very
you.
good, Frank. Okay. Now, there's no such thing as Democratic roads or Republican roads. They're Illinois roads, and we have to invest in roads, whether they be state highways or local roads. We're all in this together. We want to kind of send that message out to Washington. We need some common sense to end the nonsense. I think the shutdown is not good for our state in any way, shape, or form. We got to make sure that we put our whole country together. There'll be disagreements on politics, but to shut the government down, that's we the people. We're the government, and we need those folks in the House of Representatives who are holding things up to get the word out there. The people of America, especially from the heartland, want our government moving forward and not standing still. So I think it's important that we get that message across. It's a message, I think, that's a bipartisan message from everyday people, whatever your political philosophy. Someone I've enjoyed working with. We worked together when the flood came last spring, whether it was in Marseilles or here in the LANDS at Peru and Ottawa area. It's very, very important that we help people get back on their feet. We were able to get a federal declaration of disaster and help many, many people in, I think, 40-some counties in Illinois get relief that they needed to get back on their feet. And I wanted to thank publicly Sue Rezin, who came out when we had that day on a Sunday, and she works hard for this district. And without further ado, come on forward here, Sue. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. As the governor did say, the 38th Senate District did have probably the largest amount of damage when the flood happened several months ago. We do appreciate his help and all of the local officials behind us in their help in getting everybody back on their feet and going again. So thank you for that. We do appreciate this allotment from the capital bill. Clearly, it helps many. There are many projects in the 38th District that it does help throughout Princeton, or excuse me, Bureau, LaSalle, Grundy, Will, Kendall County. So there are many projects in here, and it does, when businesses look at places to grow and invest, they do look at the workforce and they look at infrastructure. So it's very important that we continue to invest in both the workforce and our infrastructure. So I do appreciate this allotment. But as the governor and Representative Mautino did say, we're getting towards the end of our capital bill that was passed many years ago. Sitting on the transportation company, I can tell you that we have started a bipartisan conversation about where we go next with our transportation funding and how are we going to pay for it and how do we provide consistent funding where we can have a long-range plan for infrastructure. We will continue this discussion. I know that we will find an answer so we can continue to improve our infrastructure and create jobs and put people to work. So again, thank you, Governor, for coming to the area. We do appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, I think it's really important what Sue just said. It is something we have to work together on, and we will do that. We want to